Hi, this is Mrs. Ziegler, and I'm going to go through the motion mix practice that was due in class that will help you for your unit test. So the first part, so I'm going to go over two of the problems and you will do the other two, and then you will turn it in, I will check it and then give it back to you so that you have it for your test to use. So the first thing is you have these four equations that you need to recognize when you need to use and which formulas. So it says here, add additional equations that can be used. What that means is all of these formulas can be rearranged to solve for what you're looking for based off of what you've been given. So on the boards, I have them written down, but I will post them here so that you can get them from here as well. So the first one is V, velocity, is equal to distance over time. Then we have these other two formulas that you can rearrange when you're given this information. So for example, here, you can solve for time when you're given distance and velocity. You can solve for distance when you're given velocity and time. So these are the formulas that you can use that come from this formula. Then you've got acceleration. So these are the two formulas that you can use in order to solve for whatever you need depending on the information you've been given. So again, here I have that formula that you would make when you're solving for one of your velocities when given acceleration. So here, if you're solving for time and you're given your two velocities and your acceleration, you would use this formula. For these two formulas, again, when you hear the word fall in your problem, you know it's a free fall where you know the value of g, which I did not actually post here, but it will be later on in the problem. But when you're given information, it's generally always going to be given time, but there's times in which you might be given velocity. So if you are given a free fall problem that you're given velocity, then you would rearrange the formula like this to solve for time. If you're given distance and the word fall is in your problem and you're asked to find time, then we can rearrange the formula to look like this, just so you know that this square root is square rooting the entire problem after you solve it. So you're going to take 2 times the distance divided by the 9.8 meters per second squared, and then you're going to get the square root of that in order to get your answer for your time. So I'm going to do the next problem, number 2. So number 2 is it tells you to calculate acceleration of a car that goes from rest to 50 meters per second in 12 seconds. So you need to identify your knowns and your unknowns. So I know it says rest to 50 meters per second, and it's in 10 seconds. So since it's rest, that means it's 0 meters per second, and it's to 50 meters per second, which is your final velocity, and then you have 12 seconds. The question asks for the calculating of acceleration, so that's my unknown. Based off of that, my formula that I would use is the acceleration formula. Here, you need to give a sentence to explain why I'm using this formula. Well, because it actually asks for acceleration, that's the reason why I'm going to use the formula. And then you're going to solve the equation. So all you're doing is you're plugging in all of your knowns into the equation that you have, and then you solve. All right, so you are going to do problems 3 and 4 because now I'm going to go over problem number 5. So number 5, it says, how much time will it take a falling object to get up to a speed of 35 meters per second? So again, I know that I have speed or velocity because remember those words are interchangeable. So 35 meters per second is my velocity. And then it says falling. So the things I know is my velocity. And then since it's falling, I know g, which is acceleration, is the 9.8 meters per second squared. How much time is my unknown? So again, as I said before, we only have two different formulas, which is on the front, to decide which free fall formula I'm going to use that require g. So because I have velocity, the only formula I can use is the v equals gt. So the answer, or my sentence as my explanation why, is that because it's a free fall problem because it said falling and it's given me velocity, I'm going to use this formula. So then I'm going to plug it in and then I'm going to solve. So again, mathematically, since I'm solving for t, and it's being multiplied by 9.8. To get rid of the 9.8 meters per second squared, I'm going to divide both sides by the 9.8. So 35 meters per second divided by 9.8 meters per second squared, cancel out my meters and one of the seconds. So seconds is what I'm left over. Again, this is to help you for your test because these are the things that you need to be able to do in order to solve your problem. If you have any questions, please make sure you reach out.